Hey, Scott, how are you?
Okay, Robin, how are you? Happy Thursday.
Yeah, I'm doing well, doing well. Super excited about our show tonight. It's all about, wait, what shoulder? This. Tonight.
Both shoulders.
You're safe, you're safe.
Yeah, totally. No, super exciting time of year. I always look forward to this. Obviously, we get so we're so lucky to get to know the MIEEs and Showcase School folks over the years. But I know this time of year, I'm really excited to see who applies and what new folks come into the program and what energy they interject into the community. So definitely an exciting time of year.
Yeah, so for all of you that are joining tonight, we launch our MIE expert nomination process opens on May 6th. So just 1 week away from the nomination launching. And we encourage any educator around the planet that wants to be part of this amazing community to self-nominate yourself to be part of this fantastic group. So looking forward to that nomination launching. For those that are watching, the nomination window lasts from May 6th to July 15th. So you have quite a bit of time to get everything processed and ready. And we'll kind of cover the specifics later on and give you some tips. But without further ado, I am so excited about welcoming our guest tonight because what this program is about is the people that are in it. It's all about the community and the amazing diverse group of educators from K-12 to higher ed, from teaching kindergarten to teaching calculus. It's all takes place in this community, and so I think this community is our family. So let's bring on our guest tonight, Scott. That's fun.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it. Both coming from cohort 10 in Georgia, so the whole Georgia community representing. So we'll add Mary and Meredith to the conversation here. Welcome, ladies. Mary is an instructional technology specialist for Cherokee County Schools, and she's also one of our 3, I believe, cohort 10 MIEE fellows leading that region. And also happy to have Meredith Rocker with us, who is a gifted resource teacher at Johnston Elementary School in Woodstock, Georgia, and is a first-year MIEE. Ladies, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Robin and Scott. I'm excited to be here.
Yep, thanks so much.
All right. So the question that I think everybody wants to know, what made you want to become an MIE expert? Why? Like the why behind this program? Who wants to take that one?
Start. I just recently went through it. So since I'm a first year, Mary actually kind of gave me the idea. She invited me into a lot of things, and I was an MIE for a while, but becoming an MIE expert opened a lot of doors to the community that you mentioned. And I love to network with other teachers and learn from other teachers. And so that's what I was the most excited about and the reason I decided to apply.
Awesome. And what about you, Mary? You've been with us for a while now. You're one of the OGs.
So I got introduced to the MIE expert community through Sandy Adams, and who kind of was like the godmother of the Georgia cohort because almost all of us have some sort of a connection to her in some way. So I went through the MIE program, the first one that she did within Cherokee County School District, and then as a part of that, she kind of introduced us to this, and she was like, it's been really great for me, and I think that you would really like it. And so I applied for it and have been thrilled to be a part since then. So I think it's now 6 years, maybe. Is that right? Something like that.
Hey, and I'll even toss it over to you, Scott. I mean, you came into this community this way too. So what brought you in originally?
Yeah, peer pressure. No, just kidding. A lot of just the passion behind educators. I still remember going to my first big event the summer after I became an MIE, which was the ISTE in Denver. I think it was 2014, 2015. But I became an MIEE in 2014 based on the fact that we wanted to become a showcase school, and we needed to have at least at that time 2 MIEEs. So we worked with our local Microsoft reps and some educators in the area. And so at first I did it for the school. And then within 12 months, it was like, no, this is incredibly beneficial to me. I'm meeting amazing educators like daily, working with them, collaborating with them. And then growing our own MIEE, pool here at my school has been super rewarding. But Mary and Meredith kind of already echoed it. It's the community, it's the people like Sandy Adams, that really bring you in and make you feel connected.
Awesome. So Meredith, over to you. What's been your most favorite activity or experience that you've gotten to participate in and as being part of the community?
Yeah. So actually, I had a really amazing opportunity right before quarantine started. Mary invited me to the spring MIE meetup, and we actually visited Microsoft Center, and I got to try like hands-on virtual reality, augmented reality. We had trainings on Make Code Arcade and Minecraft, things that, you know, you always want to try out in the classroom, but maybe you didn't have the time or didn't feel confident. And there I had the experts teaching it to me, showing me how to use it, meeting other people there that were doing the same things I was doing. It was so fun.
Very cool. What about you, Mary? What's been what has stood out to you as being part of the community?
I mean, absolutely. I was blessed to get the opportunity to attend E2 in Paris, and that was a spectacular event. But I've loved both of the in-person summits that we've had as MIEE. Scott referenced the one that was in Denver. That was the first one that I ever attended. And the Denver one, like when I think back about, you know, what made me stay in the community, that Denver event, because that was really the first time I met any of the other MIEEs from other areas. And I was like, okay, these are my people. And when I realized that these were my people, I was like, okay, I'm all in. And so Denver kind of solidified that for me. So yes, Paris was spectacular, but I think Denver is what kind of sucked me in and made me stay.
And over the course of these last several years, Mary, you and I have both had the opportunity to kind of take on a leadership role with this MIEE fellow, right? And we have the great fortune to lead 2 strong regions and try and inspire a whole new crop of MIEEs. So for some of our viewers, maybe who aren't familiar with the fact that there's actually, you know, tiers and levels within this program, talk a little bit about your experience as a fellow and what you've brought to it and some of the things you're most proud of that you folks have done out in Georgia.
So I'm super blessed to be a fellow for Georgia. And we, you know, we have so many MIE experts in Georgia, and we actually increased that number this year by like 50% in the number of new people that we had apply and get into the program. And I think that that has been really neat to watch, to see how we've expanded and how we've really focused on getting classroom teachers and not just district leadership into our cohort, because it's the potential for us, because we've got pretty strong metro Atlanta regions that have very large instructional technology departments. So we could very easily become top heavy and kind of forget what it's like in the classroom. So I think one of the hallmarks of kind of what we have done over the past couple of years is really focus on making sure that we're pulling in classroom teachers and getting the classroom teacher perspective brought back in, because really at the end of the day, that's what it's all about for us. I think, you know, I love celebrating with all of our Georgia MIEEs when they do different things and are presenting on different calls and all of those things. But it really, for me, is, you know, all about that. What can we do to help impact our classrooms in Georgia by providing these resources and experiences to our teachers? So I think that that has been probably my favorite part of being a fellow, because, you know, I'll hear from our other experts, and even not even just my district, but in other districts. And they're like, hey, I tried this really cool thing in my classroom. I'm so glad that y'all suggested it or that we saw it on the call. And that is really, I think, where it, you know, it gives you all of those warm fuzzies inside, because you're like, and that's why we do what we do.
Absolutely. So obviously you have found lots of ways that you can learn from others in the community. But what about sharing with other MIEEs as well? What have been some experiences that you've had maybe to share this opportunity? Obviously, Mary, as a fellow, that's what you've done. You've grown this amazing cohort, and, you know, with the you know, our godmother Sandy in Atlanta. But it's also about, you know, sharing outside of the regions and areas. How have you been able to share and connect with those in other parts of the U.S. or even around the world?
So what's been really interesting to me, and it has, you know, I've had lots of opportunities to share things like Minecraft with people all over. But the one thing for me that continues to stand out and continues to be a source of folks reaching out to me and me collaborating with people all over the world is from our our monthly meeting, our monthly call, where we shared about how we were doing digital badging in our district and using Power BI to do that. And at least once a month, someone reaches out to me. I've met with folks in Detroit and California. I've got a meeting with tech developers in Atlanta next month, all to talk about how we kind of hacked Power BI to make a digital leaderboard for that program. And I've had folks that have heard about that through US MIEs from all over the world and have said, hey, can you show this to me? So I've met on calls with people from all over. And to me, it's really amazing how that just grows and spreads.
Yeah, so, I might have sent some people your way, Mary, because people, I meet with lots of customers across the United States, and they're like, well, what we really like to have is something that can do. I'm like, hey, I've got this friend in Cherokee County. They are doing amazing things. You should go check them out. And so thank you for sharing your expertise. What about you, Meredith?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that because I call Mary all the time. I'm like, hey, I really want to make this happen. How can we do that? And Mary's like, I got you. So one thing that I've found really helpful is joining the Facebook group, because when I was accepted into the program, I really wasn't aware that that was even a thing. And what's so neat about that is, I'm on social media just looking at posts, and all of a sudden I'm seeing things from people not just across the country, but all around the world, and learning the different things that they're doing. But it also kind of makes your world feel a little bit smaller when you're like, wow, there's someone in India doing the same things that I'm doing, and, has their own spin on it, and I can learn from that. And you feel connected without even having to leave your house. So that's been really neat and something I've really enjoyed learning from, and then being able to spread ideas myself. So when I have something cool, it's super easy to be able to share it on that Facebook page because it's already on my phone. It's already something I access daily. So I just snap pictures and, add a link, whatever it is that we're working on. And that's been something that I've found really neat, and I've enjoyed learning as well as sharing.
Meredith, as a first year MIEE, this is a large group. We're up to 800 some members in the community, right? And it can sometimes be intimidating to, hey, how do I, as a first year, how do I share? How do I get involved? What advice would you give to next year's class of first year MIEs? Maybe something just about you, your personality that worked, or something you learned, or something somebody told you that kind of gave you the encouragement or the confidence to really step up and not just add this to your resume, but really have this be a kind of an active thing that you practice on a daily or weekly basis?
Yeah, I started really small. Like I said, Mary brought me into the program, but I work in a really small school and I'm the only MIE there. And so people around me kind of started leaning into that expertise when they saw that title show up on my email badge, right? Like it was just something that was there. And that kind of built my confidence. So the people around me kind of built that. And I thought, well, if they like this, then, maybe someone else will. And I started sharing with people at other schools. And so then when I saw those Facebook posts, and I was like, I can do that. I can do that for sure. So I started small. I started with the people I know and I trust, but it grew very quickly because the things that I was learning, they were so great that everyone, like Mary said, people want to know what you're doing. And so it just built that confidence really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Scott, there's 800 MIE experts this year in the U.S., but there's almost 21,000 across the world.
Yeah.
So I know that feeling can be a little bit overwhelming, especially when you first join the global Facebook group and you're just like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of coming at it. But then you start to find the nuggets, and ultimately at the end of the day, you see the story of a kid doing something that they would have never had the ability to do before, but because some educator empowered that learner to feel successful, and to see that not only the successes that are very similar across the world, but the struggles are too, right? A lot of people, and I think in the community, sometimes people think, you guys are from the US, so everything is just great there. But they can also see our struggles too, that, hey, we've got places in the US that may not have clean water. We've got tons of places around the US where, their digital equity and digital divides are absolutely part of our culture, whether kids don't have broadband at home, it's not available to get, they don't have devices. So I think it, like you said, it really makes this large planet that we live in, seem a little bit smaller because we can bond together as educators. And I know for me, like when I first came into the community, when I was still in the classroom, it was it was just this experience of having friends all over the world. And there's something about that, like knowing that no matter where I go on this planet, I can reach out to my MIE tribe, my family, and I'll be like, hey, I'm going to be in Egypt. Like, what should I do? And, I did that the first time I went to Budapest. I had met an MIE like a year before at an event. And I was like, hey, Gregor, like, what should I do when I'm in Budapest? And he was like, oh, let me show you. I will meet you and let me give you an agenda. I mean, it's just the help is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. I've always said, and ladies, you probably agree with this. If I could open a school, the only applications I would allow were MIEs, and I would just fill my school with MIEs. I wouldn't have enough teaching positions probably, but it's just the coolest, most genuine, most creative. I could go accolade upon accolade.
And supportive of each other. And I think that that's a very unique part about this community, is that it is supportive of each other and, lifting each other up along that journey. It's not as uber competitive as sometimes you find in communities that are like this. And I think that that's one of the things that makes this community so special.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's the sharing of the good and the bad, right? I remember reading this one time, somebody was like, I'm sitting in my car in the school parking lot eating sour gummy bears and just upset about the day. And then like everybody was immediately pouring in, oh my goodness, what happened? What can we do to support you? You're great, So it's sharing the goods, the bads, and knowing that you have someone to have your back. So I don't know, ladies, I am so excited to have you as part of our community, and I'm hoping you're going to be self-nominating again. So am I going to see your name come through again?
Absolutely.
Yes, most certainly.
All right. Well, we encourage you to share. Obviously, I know you do already, but reach out to other amazing educators. I think oftentimes teachers, you perform every day for your students. You're on the stage every day, being excellent, wearing so many hats, from nurse to marketer to planner to teacher to, everything, firefighter, all the things that you do in your classroom. And, I think teachers often get in that room, they close the doors and they just say, like, this is just what I do. And they don't realize how awesome what they do is. And so the one thing I wish all teachers would do would be to dig deep a little bit and realize the greatness within inside of everyone and put themselves out there to get connected to more amazing educators.
And Robin, it's funny that you say that, because that is probably my number one tip for folks that are applying to be MIE experts, is that they need to allow themselves to shine. Every time I help an educator with their application for MIE expert, I have to say, but wait, what about this? Because they leave out all of these really spectacular things that they do because they think that it's just normal. What they do.
What we do.
It's normal. And so that, to me, that is always my biggest piece of advice if they're applying, is let yourself shine. Tell about all of those great things that you're doing, because we don't always want to sing our own praises. So I think that that's always very interesting.
What about you, Meredith? Any tips that you would provide for those out there thinking about doing this?
Yeah, as you guys were speaking, I was thinking, I found it really helpful to just start keeping kind of a log. I made a folder on my desktop of all the things that I've done, and I just started dragging it in there. And so then when I went to build my application, I'm like, oh, I've done like a lot of stuff. I'm looking back at all my tweets. I'm looking back at all the Minecraft projects and the PowerPoints and the, just all of the things that you do in the year. Because you're right, you start to feel like it's just what you do. And so when I started kind of making this folder, and then I opened it when it was time to do my application, I'm like, I do a lot, and we all do. And so, like Mary said, let that shine. Don't be afraid to brag on yourself. So it was fun.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate having you on our call tonight, and all of our viewers being able to get advice right from you guys. And so thank you so much for being here and for being part of the community. You make it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thanks, y'all.
So before we let you go, would you like to throw some fun questions your way? We like to tell our audience they don't know the questions ahead of time, so it's spur of the moment. There is no wrong or right answer. So answer from the heart, answer first thing that comes to mind. And we call this our lightning round. So Robin, I'll kick it over to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to toss out with something easy. Meredith, we'll start with you. What is your favorite food?
Crab legs.
Ooh.
Oh, Mary?
Not a food, but coffee.
It's goes in.
Yeah.
All right. Mary, we'll start with you this time. What's your favorite sound?
Oh, you know what? Silence.
Meredith?
That was mine. I'll say a waterfall. A waterfall. I love to hike in waterfalls. That's a good sound.
I agree. Okay. What about your least favorite sound?
My alarm clock in the morning. That's
easy. Fair. Totally fair.
Since we just had a nice little prank pulled on my boss, I'm going to say chirping crickets, because there was a little cricket bug placed in her office that we had to hunt down and find today. So that sound, I was done with that today, and I'm sure she was even more done.
That's awesome.
That's cute. All right. What about, what is the app on your phone that you use the most often?
Am I first? No, it's Mary's turn to go first.
It's probably Facebook, as horrible as that is. That's probably the most often used app.
Yeah, I was going to say Reddit. I'm on Reddit all the time.
Nice. All right. Now over to Scott for a little bit more serious questions.
Yeah, a little more. I get the thought-provoking sides. Apparently, I'm the more serious one of the group. I'm not really sure, but Meredith, we'll start with you. What job outside of education would you most like to attempt?
That's actually an easy one for me. I would love to be an event or wedding planner. That's like my side passion, and if I could figure out a way to do them both, I would.
Love it. Mary?
I'd want to be a developer, programmer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I know a company you could come work for.
Hint, nudge, nudge.
Always recruiting.
Love it. And then the flip side of that question, Mary, what job or career or industry would you definitely not want to work in?
Oh, because I have done it and would never want to do it again, retail.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, I would not want to do like construction or electrician work. That's not for me, working with my hands.
Love it. I appreciate the honesty. This is fabulous. We love that. And then finally, Meredith, when your career is over, at your retirement luncheon, your retirement party, whatever it said, what do you hope your coworkers and friends are saying about you?
I hope that they know I was there to support others, and that I was always someone that they could trust to help them and help their students, and that I had a heart for kids.
Yeah, that's a good answer, Meredith. You just killed my answer. I would say that I would want for folks to remember positively the ways that I have supported them, be that as a classroom teacher, as a student, or as any of the other folks that I work with.
Well, I'm pretty sure everybody will be singing both of your accolades at your retirement. You guys are fabulous, and we really, really, really appreciate you joining us tonight. And like I said, you guys are the heart of the community, so thank you.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Great to see you, ladies. Have a great night.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.
Bye, friends.
That gets me so excited to see the new crop of MIEs and just to see who else comes into the community, you know?
Yep. It's ever growing, and new faces, new sharing, innovative ideas always coming our way. And, the smile will say it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Scott, do you want to kind of wrap up a little bit? We're going to talk about, how people can get started on their MIE application, and we'll share some tips with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a perfect segue. I was kind of hoping it would. Meredith and Mary did a fantastic job of kind of teeing this up for us. But I thought I would just share kind of a few of the benefits and highlight some of the things. Again, we already kind of had it in our conversation. And then Robin, I know you're going to share some of the tips. But the first thing was, this is at the heart of our conversation, right? It really is the community. And we certainly hope that we return. I think this is Philadelphia. But I know we certainly hope that we return to these in-person events very soon, and getting to not just work hard during the day, but also, socialize at night and build bridges and that sort of thing. But the community obviously exists on social media as well, online in the virtual space. But as you said 100 times, Robin, it really is about the people. And we certainly think that that's at the core of what's so special about the MIEE and Showcase School community. Along with that, again, we touched on this, is support. I also wanted to mention, many of us have become a part of the Microsoft Teams for Education group on Facebook this past year, and the level of support for teachers who clearly are in schools and districts that were not, given either the time or the appropriate training to learn about Teams. People have really stepped up in that community and offered answers, videos, links, resources to help teachers, and that we see all the time on Facebook and Twitter. And so joining this community, you are in for a tremendous amount of support and resources and help pretty much 24/7. You can almost find an MIEE up just about all hours of the day. So it's there when you need it. And lastly, from this group is just the ability to collaborate. And I've seen it on and experienced it really on so many levels, whether it's an MIEE asking you to present with them at a conference, maybe to join a webinar with them. In fact, I was just on a phone call with Jenny and Salih the other day talking about archiving Teams from one year to the next because their school is going through it for the first time. Just that ability to share and learn all the different knowledge from the MIEs around the country and around the world. It's truly inspiring. So we could probably go on and on with the benefits, but certainly these are three of the highlights that we touched on in our conversation and that are present throughout the entirety of the community. And I know, Robin, looking forward from your experience having overseen this program, there are definitely some tips and advice we can present to our applications to come.
Yeah. So what do we look for at Microsoft when we're taking a look at these applications? Number one is authenticity. Let your true self come through on the application. Share specific examples. Let your passion, what is it that you're really passionate about? We want to see what you're passionate about in the application. We want to see what your learners have ultimately done. And even if you are not directly, if you're in a classroom and you have learners that you're responsible for every day, great. But some people are in support roles like Mary, where, at the end of the day, she's helping teachers that then help students. And, that's fine too. But really just be yourself in the application and let us know what you're passionate about, what you care about most, and what accurately represents you. We're really looking for that in the application. The second thing is, be, not in addition to be yourself, but brag about yourself. Like Meredith said, she was basically saying, we often keep things inside of our classroom. She had a great idea to put all the things that she's done over the year in a folder, and she just drags it in that one folder throughout the year. And at the end of the year, she's like, wow, I did all of this. So don't be afraid to brag about yourself. You are awesome as an educator, and things that you think may seem minor are actually a really big deal. So don't be afraid to share all of those things. The next tip is really about partnering with another educator or a friend before you submit your application. Say, hey, can you test out all these links that are in my application? Make sure that this is shareable. Many times we'll receive applications from educators and they'll say, hey, here's a link to my a sample student work, or here's a link to a YouTube channel that explains what I did for the year or whatever. They'll drop in links in their application, and the links will either be broken or it'll not be shareable for me to view. It'll say oh, this is an internal link. You don't have permission to view it. And so then I get so sad when we're looking at applications because I'm sure there's some greatness behind the link that's broken for us. So minor tech errors can sink your application. So just make sure, whether it's your husband, your co-teacher, your children, whoever, your students, have them test out everything in a different profile logged in. So not as yourself, to make sure that everything that you're sharing is actually viewable. And then really it's about making an impact. So when you're doing your application, and we're looking at both new and returning MIEs, it's about, really, how do you work together with others? Do you keep all of the goodness that you're doing in your classroom to yourself, or do you share that with others to help make a broader and more positive impact on education broadly? So think about, how are you going to give back? Not just, I'm going to join this community and yeah, you will learn a lot from a lot of different people, but how are you going to share that? So it's just as important in education that when we learn something, we then share that and pay it forward to our other educators. So please be very specific in your application about what your plans are to share what you're learning with other people. And then the last one, this is a pretty big tip. So you're getting this little sneak peek if you're watching this, but our application, like I said, goes live on May 6th. On May 6th, you will be able to go to our site and create your nomination and submit. What this link right here does is it takes you to a list of all the questions that are going to be on that nomination. So we're kind of giving you a peek into all the questions before the actual nomination goes live. So if you go to aka.ms/MIEE questions FY22, that'll take you to a Word document. And inside of OneDrive, you see there on number 2, that little number 2 right there, there is a little button that you can say, save a copy to OneDrive. And it'll take that Word document and it'll save a copy in your own OneDrive. So then you can edit that Word document and you can start working on the questions in advance and ahead of time. Or if you're a OneNote junkie like me, you would just take that Word document and drop it in OneNote and then go to town there. But either way, these will be the questions that show up on that nomination live on May 6th. So my suggestion is to work offline on the questions. And then when you're ready to submit, then you can actually go into the tool, complete the steps inside the tool, and then just literally copy and paste your responses to the questions for the nomination piece.
I would also add too, Robin, for any newbies, feel free to use the hashtag MIEExpert on Twitter if you have any questions. I know there's not like a customer support line for this, and sometimes there are, questions about how do I do this and what about this. And I know I've seen many tweets over the past couple of years when people just use the MIEExpert hashtag. And as we said, there's 800 plus in the US that many will be very quick to respond and share their advice, share their tips and whatnot as you journey through this application process.
Absolutely.
So we look forward to that. And before we get a chance to celebrate those new MIEs, we'd love to celebrate some of our current ones. So Robin, we'll talk about this week's Epic Educators.
All right. So Epic Educator number 1 goes really out to Nalan Taylor and the entire cohort 7. Shout out to this amazing cohort for hosting their MIEExpert meetup this past week. I think they use the hashtag, yep, it's on the tweet, better than gold, yep. For this particular cohort. And you can see in the little picture there if you zoom in really quickly or get a magnifier out. But that is the Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana region for the MIE cohort. So they were all able to get together. They were able to connect for an hour of power, as they dubbed it. And I'm sure there was some awesome sharing going on in meetups just like this one happening all around the country. And this is really what these communities are all about. So shout out. To our second Epic Educator goes to Tim Gallus from Wyoming. Tim's students this past week, we're working on a project in his 5th grade classroom in Minecraft where the students were creating exhibits for their animals according to the Association of Zoos and Aquarium guidelines. And we just thought, wow, what a terrific real world connection that we love seeing these new and different ways for our students to use Minecraft. And it encourages them to think, to learn, and to be assessed in authentic ways in the classroom. So shout out to Tim and all of his awesome 5th graders from Wyoming. And last but definitely not least, we want to give a shout out to Victoria Thompson and Alice Keeler. We are grateful for Victoria. She was a guest blogger on Alice's site. Sorry, I am running my words together tonight. She wrote up an article about what it meant and how to become an MIE expert and how to get more involved with Microsoft education. And so again, like we shared earlier, it's not just about being part of the program and getting a badge that you can put on your profile and just saying, oh, this is the thing I am. It's really about taking what you have learned in the community and from all the amazing people who do share inside the community and sharing that out with others. So thank you to Victoria for really being part of the community and then sharing that with educators everywhere. Alice has a huge blog and a huge voice that she's being able to use that megaphone and share about the community and for others to join. So thank you so much, Victoria, for being willing to share your participation in the community. Go ahead, Scott, over to you.
And then our next episode, we're going to piggyback on the MIEE conversation and shift gears and talk about both the Showcase School and Incubator School programs. So we're looking forward to switching from the teacher-educator view to more of the global school view. So we hope that you all will join us on May 11th for that episode. Looking forward to that conversation. We also wanted to remind you that all of the information and episodes and sessions from E2 are still available. Feel free to check out all that great information. It may even help jog your memory from some of the things you've done in your classroom as you get ready to submit your application for the MIEE program for the following year. And as always, we appreciate you watching this episode. You can always catch all of our old episodes, including this one, which will be up tomorrow morning on Friday at aka.ms/US Microsoft EDU Live. All the episodes are there. And we look forward to sharing episode 16 with you in just a few weeks. So thanks for joining us. And Robin, always great to see you.
Great to see you too. And one more virtual round of applause for our amazing guests, Mary and Meredith tonight. Thank you so much for joining. They were fantastic.
Wonderful conversation. Yep.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your week. Tomorrow's Friday, Scott, and I hope you have some fun plans for the weekend. And looking forward to the day that we can all be doing this together in person.
Can't wait. Getting closer and closer. We just need to kind of keep that progress going, but certainly looking forward to that time when it comes.
Absolutely. Thanks for everyone for joining in tonight. It's been great. And don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything that we can support you with. Have a great night, guys.
Have a good night, y'all. See you soon.